The next shot we're going to work on is the parlor, and that's the room that we saw when we first walked into the house today. It's an amazing room. There's a lot of really cool things happening, but it doesn't photograph that well, only because there's a ton of empty space right here. And obviously the reason for that is the front door is just over to my right, and when you're traveling through here with grocery bags and whatnot, it wouldn't make sense to have clutter in this area. So what I've done is I've backed over into the corner. I know that we talked about maybe shooting from this angle over here. And the reason I didn't do that is because I need to include these French doors. This house is amazing. There's French doors on the whole main level. It's hardly any windows and everything opens up to the outside. So I definitely want to show that. I definitely want to show the fireplace. I can still see that cutaway that we talked about near the stairs here. And then I've also got the piano in the bottom corner of our frame, and that's anchoring us to the dining room because if you remember, we saw that through the archway there. I think that we did end up finding a great shot. Let me show you the composition that we've sort of roughed in here. So in the bottom left side of the frame, you can see that we have that piano there. And again, I love having foreground elements in my shots. I think that it makes them less real estate-y. The general tendency is to try to be maybe in front of the piano with a super wide angle lens, and then you're picking up all this floor and all this ceiling, and it just doesn't make for a great photo. So on the right side of the frame, we can see all the way up the stairs. So now that's connecting us to the next part of the house. And we're gonna put some light up there, and we're gonna invite people to walk through the space mentally by making it nice and bright up there. We're gonna add some more light using probably an umbrella. I can't bounce off of anything over here because we have that artwork on the wall, and I don't want to pick up any of that red and contaminate the flash. And then we have that vestibule there, and I can't bounce any light in there. So I'm gonna have to use an umbrella. And then as always, we're gonna bounce some light off the ceiling to try to mimic some directional light that might be coming from these cans or through the French doors. As always, the first thing that I wanna do is confirm that we have focus. I'm gonna flip my camera over to AF and wait for that beep. So I'm just gonna bring my meter down to 0, and we're gonna take our first capture. Overall, it's really dark, but you can actually see up in the one part of the grill work of that right side French door, we're actually starting to bloom and we're actually starting to lose detail there. I don't want to go any darker on this because it's going to make my life a lot harder to light this thing. I'm going to go maybe a third of a stop under. We're going to take one more shot and see if we can knock that down a little bit. Okay, so we're really dark now, and we've just made our life a lot harder. We've got a lot more to light. It's hard to make things look natural when you're using too much flash, but I think because we use that top-down bounced light and we get some directionality, it doesn't end up looking flashy in the end. A lot of the things that I associate with looking flashy is hard shadows, a cooler white balance. I'm not really worried about that stuff. We can always add a warming adjustment layer in Photoshop, or we can warm up the white balance later on. But we definitely need to make sure that we're not blowing out on that far French door there. So I think that this is where we're gonna start. I'm gonna get my first light set up and we'll take another shot. So looks like our sun's out and it's coming from this direction. So let's try to embellish the natural ambient that we're getting. And we'll place the flash over here. I'm just gonna aim this into the room. Try and get it far enough back that we're not gonna see it in our frame. And I'm gonna start at half power on that. We'll switch back over to live view. Okay, so that is completely in our frame. I'm actually gonna probably have to scooch this chair back a little bit so I can pull this umbrella out. Okay. We definitely got brighter. It does look pretty natural. It looks like the light is actually coming through that French door there, so that's a good thing. I'm gonna actually turn it all the way to full power. And I'm gonna lower the flash down actually. I don't want it hitting the ceiling too much, so I'm just gonna bring it all the way down here. With these little light stands, it's just like a geared center column on a tripod, so you can just easily move it up and down. So that's at full power now, and we're gonna take one more shot. That's really coming along nicely. I'm gonna have to add more light for sure. Maybe I'll try to get a flash and bounce off of this wall here. There's a big piece of artwork there, and I might pick up a little bit of contamination from that, but I'm gonna try to place another light. I just wanna bring more from this direction here. And this one's gonna be at half power, and I'm just gonna hit this poster here. It's getting there. The quality of light's actually pretty good. We didn't pick up any contamination from this, so that's a good thing. I'm just going to tighten this up a little bit. We were getting a bit of spill. And I might bring this light just down a third of a stop and just kill a little bit of the brightness. And we'll take another capture. The values feel really good for the room. We've got a good exposure for the ceiling. We got good white balance, good color. I'm gonna run up the stairs now and pop a light up there, and then we're gonna grab our stick and bounce some light over the ceiling area. So I've just placed that light up on the landing. I made sure to turn the camera and orientate it so that the optical window can see these lights so that it knows to trigger. And we're gonna take another shot. That looks amazing. We got a lot of great light now at the top of the stairs. It's nice and bright and inviting up there. It welcomes someone to walk through the frame and go right up the stairs. We're in pretty good shape. What I'm gonna do is turn these lights down just a touch, more into fill duty, and then grab our light on the stick. I'm gonna try to hide in around the corner so that I give myself less work in post. So let's grab this light. And I'm gonna turn this guy down just a little bit. And same thing with this one. And then I'm gonna try to tuck in the corner. I'm gonna have this light at half power as a guess, and then we'll see what we get. I'm gonna try a few different times to see if I can get a little bit more dimension, a little bit more shape on the furniture over there. It's not a bad start. I would be happy with this, but again, if I give myself 3 to 5 minutes to make this shot, I'm gonna take up all that time and try a few different things so that I can always deliver that best photo. Looking at this, one thing that I am noticing is that the 2 can lights over the fireplace aren't turned on. Everything else is, so it looks kind of weird. I'm gonna find that switch and click them on really quick. There we go. All right, so I'm just gonna switch back over to live view here. And I'm gonna go tuck around the corner again by the reel-to-reel, and I'm gonna bounce off the ceiling one more time and see if I can get what I'm looking for. Again, trying to just mimic that daylight that would be coming through and completely ignoring the top half of the frame. We're just looking down at the bottom here. We don't care about anything sort of above the middle of the frame at all. It's a bit bright. These guys over here are still way too bright, so I'm gonna turn both of these lights down. This one's gonna come down to full stop, so it's gonna be just below a quarter, and this guy's gonna be right at a quarter. So I'm just gonna run over and go back to live view quickly. Okay. So I'm gonna go tuck in the corner here and try one more time. We've ended up taking too much off of our original lights. I'm gonna go back up in power, not on the umbrella, but just on this one here beside the piano. And the piano is actually really dark, and I wanna try to brighten that up. So I'm gonna add one more light. I think I'm just gonna stick it right behind the camera here on a shelf. And we're just gonna aim it right into the ceiling. Low power, maybe a quarter power. And hopefully that gets us some more fill on the piano. I'll just head back onto live view here. So I think that that actually feels pretty nice. I'm gonna try actually get a little bit more light on the piano here. It's super dark. I like the way the rest of the frame looks. Got a little bit of lost detail on that one grill inside the French door. I think that we can fix that in post. I just wanna get a little bit more light on this piano. I'm trying to think how I can do that. I think I actually might pull this stool out a little bit. And if I bounce off this wall here, I might be able to get a light coming back to fill this in. Let's give this a shot. Again, I don't know if this is gonna work. Total guesswork, but let's give it a try. And we're just gonna go back to live view quickly. Hopefully that lit the piano up for us. I wonder if I aim this one more at the ceiling. Again, trial and error. I could probably pull that up in post. I'd rather get it in camera. I mean, it's a darker wood. It's just a little bit too dark in here for my liking. So I'm gonna do it one more time. Again, I have to know when to draw the line. I can't spend 20 minutes on this single shot. So I'm gonna work through it as best as I can, and then I'm gonna move on. But I think we have most of what we need to make an amazing shot, a shot that we can deliver to our client that they're really gonna like. But let's just try to take a few extra frames to see if we can get exactly what we're after. You know what, I'm standing right here. What if I did this? All right, the piano's actually looking pretty nice. So what if I just stand off camera and just see if I can get it lit up from here and just use that tiny little piece to combine in Photoshop. I can just make a selection for that, or I can drag a gradient and fill that in. At least I know that I have that piece of information in the file now, and we'll put this together in post, and I think it's gonna be a great shot.